I'm super excited to welcome to the podcast very talented artist Carly Jaye from right here in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. How you doing, Carly?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I have to say your art is everywhere through this city now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I drive around and I'm humbly reminded of that all the time, that it's crazy that it's almost every corner of our downtown where I can find my signatures. It's wild.
How did you get started with art? Was it from like the time you were a little kid you just loved art?
I think every artist kind of answers that question with that kind of response, that it was definitely something that was in us as a child, and that's definitely true for me as well. I didn't really hone in on it, I would say, until my early 20s. I was kind of working that classic 9 to 5 desk job and was finding myself, I guess, bored in my evenings. And it was kind of a New Year's resolution thing, that I was just looking for something to do in my evening time. And I went to Walmart and bought a canvas and some paint and sat at my kitchen table. And the first thing I painted was just a Beatles lyric. And I started sharing it on social media. And that's literally kind of the foundation of my business still today. I work in like unconventional spaces, like a kitchen table to a staircase to anywhere, and share it on social media. And that tends to lead to my next project. So
I love that. So how did you go from starting at your kitchen table to painting murals? That's probably a big leap there.
yeah, well, it's been 14 years since that kitchen table moment, but it really has, again, just been a trial and error process of trying new projects, and other people are always pitching new ideas to me, and I'm pretty open to a challenge. If I've never done something like a mural before, I that's, yeah, kind of how the mural thing just happened. I went for it, loved it, and kept going.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite project that you've done up till now? That's probably a big question too. Hey?
Oh yeah. It's hard to really pick a specific favorite, because every project ends up having its own kind of meaning and special kind of touch to it, that it's hard to pick a favorite, because they end up kind of having a story behind them, whether it's with the local business that I'm working for, or the person that's commissioned me to paint some kind of special gift for someone. Um, Design wise, I could probably say I have a favorite. I did a piece in a mural in Regina on the first Leopold's Tavern. It was the first one that they ever opened on Albert Street. So if you're heading north on Albert Street, just past College Drive in Regina, there's a big, bright, purple-haired girl spray painting inspirational message that says "Dream big." That was kind of their whole purpose with the mural, and I was definitely the girl to tackle it. It was just spoke to my heart. It's very pop art, bright colors, and yeah, that design wise, that would be my favorite. But yeah, long answer here. They all kind of have a special spot in my heart.
What's the biggest painting that you have done?
The biggest one is here in Moose Jaw, on the Palliser Regional Library on South Hill. So it is, I believe, 112 feet long, and the building kind of cascades. So it was like 17 feet high to about 12 feet high at different ends of the wall. So yeah, that's a pretty pretty big canvas. And the wild thing about that one was it was something that was kind of approved last minute into the mural season, which in Saskatchewan is pretty much August, early September. We get lucky some Septembers that we can go right into October painting outside. But yeah, I started that, I think, mid-September, and had like a month basically to try to wrap it up before that snow hit. And I did get snow during the process, but big wall for a small time frame.
No kidding. How
Yeah.
do you even start? How do you even start on a project like that? How do you lay out your design?
Usually the design is always inputted by whoever I'm painting for. So that one specifically, there's a board, shoot, I'm drawing a blank here on what they're called. South Hill Community Association. They had the vision. So they wanted the books to be incorporated with it being a library, but they also wanted it to represent some of the South Hill history. So in the middle section, that's what the pages, open pages, are kind of representing different kind of things. Like the bridge is the first access to the South Hill in Moose Jaw. And yeah, so they had great input on that one. And all of them are the same way. The one on the Mad Greek here in Moose Jaw, it's a story of John's family history. So there was all kinds of input from him and his family on that one.
That's really cool. So you've been commissioned, obviously, by a bunch of businesses to paint. So have you had like passion projects that you've done that stand out to you, like ones that are meaningful to you?
Totally. It's not very often that I just get kind of like a blank wall and I get to do my thing, but literally the first mural I did here in Moose Jaw was just that. It's an Al Capone themed mural. It kind of tells that whole tourism story that we thrive on here about our tunnels. And it's located on the cornerstone. So that was one that I just had this idea. I would drive into Moose Jaw and see our amenity sign would say, we're known for these historic giant murals, but we're also known for these historic tunnels. And I'm like, why don't we have those two things combined yet? And it's kind of that light bulb moment. And yeah, I was kind of crazy. I just started pitching this idea to people in that vicinity of that history, the tunnels. And the cornerstone bit right away, they kind of donated the wall to me. And I sat down one night and I researched all this history myself, and sat there with a sketch pad and came up with a design. I still have that sketch, and it turned into like a 60-foot mural that just was something that came out of my heart and yeah, pure interest.
That's so cool. So how does it go from the paper to the mural? Like you're not projecting it onto the side. That would be my solution.
No, nowadays I do. And I love that you bring that up because that's kind of a touchy subject for us mural artists. I follow a lot of other mural artists and I love when they put up posts being like, projecting is not cheating. Cause I'm like, yeah, because I get asked that a lot. And it's trickier, honestly, a lot of the time to project because you're working in spaces where there's not just like necessarily a flat space where you can set up a ladder and a projector, an outlet right there that works, all those kind of things that you end up getting extra kind of challenges in that. But I always say it's not cheating. I draw my own designs on my iPad. And so if I am projecting, I'm projecting my own design. That it's just a time saver. To me, it's a kind of work smarter, not harder mentality. So, but to answer your question, your original question, some of them are freehand, and it kind of goes back to like grade 9 art class. I think most of us can relate to doing the grid style artwork where you make a grid, however many squares, and it's about piecing and puzzling together the shapes that are in those squares, and that plays into a large scale mural sometimes too.
I'm totally with you on the projecting's not cheating. When our old house, I painted a mural on my son's bedroom wall. It was,
I think I saw this actually. Dr. Seuss,
cover
right?
of All the Places You'll Go from Dr. Seuss.
Yes,
yeah. That took me like between 12 and 16 hours to complete. I'm like, I may have projected it, but a lot of work went into that thing.
Totally. It's giving yourself a giant coloring page, basically, but making it to scale and straight and even in like the first shot instead of freehanding it, that's where it becomes like a time saver. So
fair enough, right?
Yeah, I'll justify it till the end.
I love it. So did you grow up in Moose Jaw? You're born and raised?
Yes.
Love it. So we talked about, Moose Jaw being known for the murals. What was your favorite, or what was or is your favorite mural in Moose Jaw that you haven't done?
Well, none of mine are my favorite, actually. I can't even say that. Because that's definitely a big part of why I've become a muralist, was just growing up in the streets of Moose Jaw with this incredible array of artwork for decades now. But my favorite was it was called River Street Red. And and it was located on First Avenue. It was the classic pop art kind of style. The girl having a martini and the guy having a cigar. I'm sure you know.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, most people say that. I feel like it was just so well done. It was, yeah. And just, I am a big fan of pop art and kind of the Liechtenstein kind of comic style art that one definitely spoke to my heart even as a kid.
I had two favorites and they both burnt down, or they were both knocked down. Yeah. The other one was the one, do you remember the train that was on the side of the Royal Hotel? Yes.
That one was also incredible. Unfortunately, it's always like these really large scale ones that we lose at.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need any more of these fires.
It's that's the thing about street art in general, though, is that it's not ever guaranteed to be there forever. That I always say we got to appreciate it while it's there, just like we do each other.
Yeah. Do you have a dream project that you'd like to take on? Is there something I would love to do that?
Honestly, this is going to sound like I'm like feeding into your wardrobe here, but it's just truly been a dream of mine for a long time to do a Warriors themed, like history based mural.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I kind of have some wheels in motion on it. I don't want to say too much because it's still just too early. But its timeline, I may be feeding into this too much, but with it being the 40th anniversary, I'm like, oh, this is the year to do it. Like, come on.
Right.
But there's just so many variables and like sometimes hoops you got to jump through. So we'll see.
So what's your like go-to, style? What, if you had to sum up your style?
I again say pop art. I'm a big Andy Warhol fan and have definitely kind of been inspired by him throughout my whole kind of painting career, if you will. And again, like Roy Lichtenstein, like kind of comic stuff, like even Archie comics, like things like that, that it's very kind of simplistic art, but bold colors and sharp black contrasts.
I love it. You get to see it all through downtown Moose Jaw because you were commissioned to do all of the garbage cans and street benches all the way up and down Main Street, right? Like this was your artwork?
Not just me. No, there was three of us. Okay. So one was Kayla Hansen, who is known as 32 Flavors is her art name.
Oh, I love hers as well.
Yeah, her work is incredible. And like, if you look at them, like I know people are driving by at such fast rates, and I think with me being a Moose Jaw girl, a lot of people tend to think that I did them all. And I'm like, no, like if you look at these flowers, I can't paint that. That's got Kayla Hansen all over it. Like she's amazing. And then also McGuire, I'm not correct on her pronunciation of her last name, but Sotnikow, I believe. She doesn't necessarily have her art out there as like a business like Kayla and I do, but she is incredibly talented. She kind of got roped into the project last minute and was a little like out of her element, but she was definitely a huge asset with the Kayla and I on that project. So we're hoping, I believe the downtown board is planning to add to that collection. Like that was the kind of intent at the beginning, was to do some every couple years. So they were planning to do that last summer, but I haven't heard more. So hopefully that gets pushed into this coming summer and we can see a whole new set of fun splashes of color up and down our main street.
Well, I know I'm getting into the controversial topics now, Carly. I know there was one bench that was painted until someone complained about it, and then they painted it green again. So I think that bench needs to be redone.
Totally. I don't even remember this.
It's on the bottom block of Main Street.
Oh, someone did repaint it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, so that one needs a whole new design, and I'm just pitching it right now that like a Leroy and Leroy bench would be great.
Hey, there you go. I'll apologize in advance though, because those benches have like slats missing, right? Where like I'd have to cut out some parts of your face, so like don't take offense to that.
No, that's okay. That improves this.
Well, then you're welcome in advance.
There we go. So we're going to release this podcast. Timing is perfect. We're going to release this one just in time for International Women's Day.
Amazing.
So let me throw that out to you and ask who are some inspirational women for you.
Well, I have Marilyn Monroe's signature. I forgot what wrist it's on, tattooed on my wrist. So she's definitely been someone, I don't know, her story. Unless you know her story, I think there's a stereotype about who she was. But there's such a deep rooted that she was like such an empowering woman, actually, for women, that she's definitely been someone that I've admired as a woman that I deem powerful. Also, though, I don't know if you're familiar with a woman named Mary Bonnie Baker, but she was, the movie A League of Their Own?
Yeah.
Tom Hanks. That whole league was the bat catcher in that movie is channeled after this woman that was born and raised in Regina named Mary Bonnie Baker. I got to paint a mural honoring her. I'm not sure how many years ago, but I already knew who she was, but getting to capture her in this like 8-sided mural, obviously I became this like her biggest fan. She did so much for women in sport. She was the first woman to ever manage a professional, I don't know if it was baseball team or sporting team in the States. Being a Canadian woman, she was the first female to be a sports broadcaster in Canada. These are just a couple off the top of my head, but like so many attributes that this woman has had. And she was so humble about it that she's not such a well-known name, but I have her baseball card signed on my wall and hold her at like dear value for sure. So those two women, I would say, on top of like the cliche ones, of the people that have raised me, my mama, my grandma.
Right? You have to throw them in, or you're in trouble,
of course,
Carly.
in case they watch this.
Right? Yeah, there we go. We got the plug in just in case. You mentioned you mentioned wanting to paint like a Moose Jaw Warriors mural. Did you grow up going to Warrior games?
Totally. I was raised with 3 brothers, and they were all involved in hockey. My dad, whole family. So I was a bit of a rink rat growing up. My brother actually worked in, he's an official, and he worked in the WHL officiating the Warriors for a good like 10 years. I think he did it. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So like a lot of time it was going to just like support and watch him too.
Did he wind up having any good stories from being an official? Crazy fans, coaches.
All the time. He officiates like junior hockey now, and we have a brothers group chat, of course, siblings group chat, and they'll be talking ref stuff in there all the time, and I'm just scrolling through because whatever. There's stories all the time.
Yeah.
Good ones though too. Like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I do remember him speaking highly of Braden Point. That's one I can definitely remember.
Yeah, he was an okay player, I guess.
Yeah. He would more so comment on like his like how he is towards an official on the ice, you know, not so much his like hockey skills.
Yeah, he was just a respectful guy.
His respectfulness, that's more so the kind of stories he would tell.
That's good to hear. So you're is that a painting of Tiger Woods behind you? Is this did you do this?
It is. It is. I'm sitting in front of this is a commission piece that's going out to Prairie Storm. What's it called? Prairie Storm.
Okay, the paintball mini golf.
Yeah, the paintball mini golf. They kind of got 2 names: Battle Creek, Prairie Storm.
Yeah,
but so they claim to be the largest outdoor mini golf in Canada.
Have you gone out there to play around?
I haven't actually.
It's
a hike. To deliver this painting first. It's
like give yourself like an hour and a half to play around a mini golf.
I usually probably need that anyways. I'm not that good.
So is there anyone, you mentioned getting to work with some people doing all of the garbage cans and benches and stuff on Main Street. Is there anyone you'd really like to, collab with on an art project?
Who? Like anyone? Or local?
No, anyone.
Anyone. Well, definitely Shepard Fairey. His artist name is Obey Giant. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
It sounds familiar.
You would recognize the stickers he put out in the 90s. It's like a very posturized photo of Andre the Giant, and it just says Obey in red above it.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? So he was kind of like a skater vibe kind of guy, artist in LA, and that was his thing. He would tag these buildings with that image everywhere. And then he started doing other things, and now he's like, yeah, this incredible worldwide famous mural artist that, yeah, has that whole kind of style and vibe that I spoke of earlier. Bright colors, black, white contrast.
I love it.
If I could collab with him, oh my God, I would consider myself like made.
Let's everyone tag him in the comments. Let's make this happen. So you mentioned you've done, a bunch of stuff in Moose Jaw, Regina. Where else have you had a chance to work?
I have a couple pieces in Toronto and Hamilton that I helped people on, so I kind of assisted on. And then I have a few murals down in Raleigh, North Carolina area. So I got a pretty cool opportunity last spring. I was down there visiting some friends and was there for kind of an extended Dodge, Saskatchewan winter stay. And I connected with someone who connected with someone, kind of one of those situations. And I ended up, do you remember Bates Battaglia? He's a hockey player. Yeah. So he lives down there and he owns a couple bars. And yeah, I ended up getting to paint a Canes themed mural on him and his brother own the bar. So that was pretty cool connection.
That's so random.
Very random. And like, again, it was one of those things where I'm like, hey, let's do this. I'm only here for like another month though. We got like minimal time to agree on a design, get it done and check it off.
So how'd you wind up connecting? How'd you wind up connecting with him?
It's kind of a long story. Like I met someone who, what he does is runs like an online community account that highlights people like that own bars and restaurants and clothing stores within this certain area of the downtown Raleigh area. And he kind of pitched the idea to me like, hey, like if you want to kind of get your name out here in Raleigh, what if we did like a free kind of mural? So it was free. I want to be clear about that. I wasn't like illegally working in the States. And that was kind of what I was pitching to him too, is like, hey, I'm kind of considering maybe like an extended time here. Maybe coming back in the future with a visa, but like that exactly what I did here in Musha is I did a free mural and it led to 20 some more. And yeah, so he ended up pitching this out on his account and Bates was just one of the bars that responded and it just happened to be the right fit. We needed somebody that owned their property. It couldn't be somebody that was leasing or renting and like didn't have the approval to do that to their building. So yeah, it just happened to be like he was like, out of all these people that wanted a free mural, this guy that happened to be a former NHL player and has this great connection to the Hurricanes to also get their approval to paint their logo on someone's building. That was kind of another hoop we had to jump through. It all just aligned how it was supposed to.
That's awesome. So random,
I know, it's
right?
crazy.
Just like in the right place at the right time.
Yes, totally. And I started painting like a lot of sports kind of figures, like Wayne Gretzky and Don Cherry were a couple of my first paintings I ever did. That again, I just felt like I was like the right artist for this project to be painting a sports themed, hockey themed mural on this bar. So
have you got to meet any of these people you've painted?
Any of the people I've painted?
Yeah.
I mean, I've painted a lot of like personal portraits that I get to meet those people, but
okay.
not celebrities, I don't think. I shouldn't say that. I met Ryan Smith. He has a painting in his whole Shrine of Oilers collection, which I'm proud to have. Yeah, just one little piece of his wall that, I know his sister-in-law. So when he retired, I contacted her and I wanted to send him this gift. So I'm just honored that he has it hanging up in there though.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so I did end up getting to meet him when I gave him the painting. So I guess that's one person. I know I didn't get to meet him, but um, Doug Gilmore has signed one of my prints, and Marty McSorley, I think. I donated a
that's
picture
awesome.
that was at a fundraiser in like small town Leader, Saskatchewan. And he ended up being like the guest speaker at it. So yeah, I didn't get to meet him, but he got to meet a little piece of me, I guess.
That's really cool. I love like you've got such a broad scope to what you do. So when art's, when you're need a break from art, what are you doing then?
Well, I also work at the postal office actually. I work
Okay.
there like early morning. So I'm also a good old postal worker.
Are you hoping to take art full time?
I've had it like full time at different times in my life, and it's a struggle. I like having the kind of balance of getting to go work with people and like interact with humans instead of like staring, half the time I'm standing on a ladder or staring at like a Tiger Woods painting and it's just like your own thoughts all the time, that it's good to like have that nice mix. I've found in my time doing this and juggling both, but times where I'm like, yeah, just trying to do the paint thing. And it's hard mentally, I would say, more than anything. Even if you have like list after list of projects lined up, it's hard to just grind like that one after another.
I can imagine you probably get need the breaks in between, right? Like just
Totally. I go
yeah.
crazy. My family starts to feel it like, oh yeah, she's been going hard here all summer. Like it's that time.
Are you like by nature an extrovert or introvert or
Extrovert, I would say.
yeah.
I maybe a little mix of both, but I think we probably all are in certain situations.
So by the time you're done with all the alone time of painting, you need to connect with people.
Yeah. I saw some kind of quote the other day that said something like the best thing a creative can do is just to spend time alone doing nothing. And that's so true because I think we have such busy minds that even when we are alone, it's like there's so much going on. And I know I can speak we because I've had this conversation with many fellow creatives, but it is good to just try to not do anything at times too, it's
I
hard.
completely get it.
That
I get it.
ADHD kicks in and it's like, yeah, you gotta find something else to like forget about all the work you should or want to be doing sometimes because you burn yourself out
Yeah, no kidding.
and you don't end up you
So
don't end up producing the best work either.
fair enough, right? Like if you don't have that energy, it
I
even doing
Yeah,
this, driving around and pointing out things and doing videos and stuff.
totally.
We did a string of videos at one point, and it was after a bunch of stuff had happened with our family and stuff, and
Right.
someone's like, these videos just don't quite feel the same, and I'm like, yeah, well, there was a lot going on at that time, and
And
it does come through in your art, right?
isn't that interesting though that people even like pick up on that from your videos that like if when the passion's not there, it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're born and raised Moose Jaw. If someone was coming to visit us, what would you tell them to do while they were here?
Ooh. Well, if it's summertime, I would tell them just to take a nice stroll down our main street and just enjoy the various shops and artwork and incredible architecture that we have for such a small little spot in Saskatchewan. Um, it sounds cliche. It sounds like I'm just listing off the tourist amenities here, but I would
Oh, it's
recommend
true
taking
though.
the tunnel tour on the trolley. Like I think that's such an interesting little perk in our summertime that we have that rolling around, and it's like often full too. So it's great to see people taking that in. Um, and then yeah, I don't. There's so many great local restaurants that I would recommend. I'm a
Yeah, I'm
big
putting you on the spot.
supporter.
You can only recommend one, Carly. Which restaurant are
Okay,
you going to
okay.
recommend?
This might be biased, but I'm gonna say Rosie's. Partly
Okay.
because they are celebrating their 8-year anniversary this weekend.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
I think that's just great that, yeah, I can't believe they've been here
They've
eight
got the
years.
best burger in town.
everything. Like it's
But
just I'm
my
never disappointed.
recommendation for anyone coming to Moose Jaw
Let's hear
is the
yours.
Mad Greek.
See, that would have been also on my list. I feel like
If I
again,
could only pick one, we do have a lot of great
yeah,
places, though, right?
that's the thing. I'm being biased because I've spent a lot of time at both of these establishments, but
It's
there's
true.
many
I
more.
just wanted to put you
But
on the spot and see how if you would actually just pick one. So everyone can be
I
mad at
listen.
Carly now if she didn't point out your business. You can reach her at Carly Jaye. No,
Send them my other email that you sent my first thing to, without the Y.
yeah, we had a little moment of trying to figure out how to connect this podcast because I didn't actually send the email to you.
Well, and here I thought it was me because I am like, this is just like a classic thing that would happen to me. Like my brother will be laughing when I tell him this after. Of course I couldn't connect. Then my laptop died.
Well, I'm glad we made it work in the end.
Yeah, here we are.
So what's your next project you're going to be working on other than Tiger?
Yeah, I got to wrap this up. I got a little bit more time here before the snow melts, and he's going to install this like on a hole, so it's
that's cool.
it'll be out in the elements. And then I'm just doing a couple little small like personal mural projects in a bedroom and in a basement. Another Warriors themed thing, actually. One of them will be. And then, yeah, I'm kind of tight-lipped on how my next projects will roll out because I'm still confirming a few things. And I tend to be like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then they'll be like, maybe let's wait till next year. And then people are like, what happened to that mural? You know?
Well, I appreciate you taking some time to chat with me and talk a little bit about your
My pleasure. I'm glad you asked.
I think anyone who comes to Moose Jaw will definitely see your work all over town. And if people want to find you on social media, maybe get a hold of you for their own project, how can they do that, Carly?
They can contact me. My email is Carly Jaye Art, Carly Carly Jaye Art, or on Instagram, Art Carly Jaye.
Awesome. This has been
get a hold of me.
This has been an absolute blast. Go check out Carly's stuff, and thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for chatting with me. I'll let you know when I'm painting you on that bench.
Yes, please do. We'll get that everywhere. There's always something to do.